Welcome to the SeizeYourBusiness.com podcast. My name is Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law. I'm joined today by Beth and Todd Bannor from Bannor and Bannor Inc. And our topic today is going to be using videos to market. So, guys, thanks for being here today.
Oh,
thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Tell me about Bannor and Bannor Inc. What do you do? What's your history?
Well, we're actually starting with Beth, been doing websites since 2008. We incorporated in 2011. And so Beth builds websites. I do photography and video.
Okay, that's a match made in heaven. So, how do you go about getting your business?
Well, we do networking. I've done cold calling in Oak Park, where we actually have our office, and but mainly through word of mouth and a lot of networking.
How did you guys get into this line of business?
Well, Beth, I think I'll let you take over on how you got into.
I worked at ad agencies for years doing key lining, which is digital, putting together an ad digitally with art directors and copywriters, and it just sort of moved to web design because printing isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
People don't necessarily run ads anymore. They do events, and they do a lot of on-web stuff.
Okay. What sort of value do you guys add over and above what someone can get from just doing, a WordPress site on their own?
Some of our best clients are people who have either tried it themselves or had a family member or friend do it for them. So they understand the value of getting someone who does it full time and letting them work on their business instead of trying to figure out why things aren't working.
Okay. So why don't you talk a little bit about the topic today, which is using videos to market. I know that's an important part of internet marketing. But, tell me why, and tell me how to do that effectively.
Well, it's becoming more and more important for search engine optimization to have video on your website. And so rather than just having a static site where people come and look and see what you do, you can have a short promotional video on your site, and we call them video business cards. And essentially, if you come up with a script and you keep it from 30 seconds to maybe a little bit over a minute, it gives you a presence. It gives people a feeling for you, who you are, rather than just looking at pictures. And when we do these video business cards, we can also take still photography and splice those in. So you're not really going to be maybe you doing an introduction of 10 seconds, and then we move to showing photos of your business or what you do. So it depends on the business. We just did one for an acupuncture studio, so we did their website. I had done their photography, so it was pretty easy to take the video and the stills and put that together and give people a feel for their business.
Okay. Do you, for people who aren't necessarily good public speakers, do you kind of help get good content out of, if let's say you're an acupuncturist and you're really good at acupuncture, but you don't like to, you don't have your elevator speech down, or you'd have trouble looking into a camera and talking to your clients. Do you kind of help them put together their content a little bit? Or?
We have not done that yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we have essentially just said to people, you make sure you have a script, and the ones that we've done, people, have been able to do it. I suppose we could help them with that. I suppose if they wanted us to do the voiceover, we have the ability to do that.
Do people memorize their script and not read it off of like a card or something?
Generally, if you memorize the first part of it, you're fine. So say the first 10 to 15 seconds. And then we can always cut away while you're speaking, and you can be reading. And you're still on camera because the camera is recording the audio as well as the video. Mm-hmm. But then in post-production, we can put in other things, so you can read it and nobody knows that you're reading it. Well, they do now.
So for me, because I'm not great at memorization, all I had to do was memorize the first line. Uh-huh. Hi, my name is, and that, and then just read it, because the rest of it's just going to be voiceover. And for mine, it was just screenshots of websites that I've done.
Okay. So,
and we tell our clients that too. Just memorize the first line, maybe the ending. Okay. But in the middle, it's fine to read off. Just don't move the paper a lot.
And we can use content they provide, so we can use photographs they already have. If they've got video clips they've already have, we can use those. It's important that the customer either has permission or owns the right to that content. So, you know, if you had a
So you
professional,
can't just get stock photos off the internet.
well, no, if you paid for them, if you paid for
And
them,
if the license
and
says you can use them.
right,
Okay.
and if the license says you can use them for a video, that's fine. Generally, where it becomes a problem is if you've had a professional photographer take, say, still photos of your business, and what you paid was for the production of those photos, but you don't really own the copyright to those photos. Like, for instance, a photographer might have taken the photos and given you permission to use those photos for your website. If he didn't give you permission to use them for a video, you got to make sure that
That's
that person
crazy to
is well, it's copyright law.
Yeah,
I mean, it's civil
that,
copyright law.
that,
It's
it
it's
sounds
crazy to
nuts to me.
folks. It's crazy to younger folks who, you know, I've been doing photography since, well, I mean, if you want to get really picky about it, I've been doing photography since I was 10 years old, and I got a camera for Christmas.
Okay.
I did photography pre-digital. I did film photography. So I understand that in the era of the internet, everything, if it's on the internet, they ought to be able to use it. But that's not the way it works. You're not, you know, and not to get into we could spend an entire episode on that. It's I'm a photographer. I have a lot of stock photos out there. I get infringed upon. Right now, I have 2 cases going against an infringer.
Oh, really?
And right.
Oh, no, so I get misuse of stock photos, but you know, it seems weird to me that if someone hires a photographer to take photos for the business, that they'd be limited in what they could use those photos for.
You,
so I
You
guess
get asked questions.
read your contract.
you read your contract, and if you
That's why
want,
you need a lawyer.
you
right?
can find photographers, and a lot of times they're the less experienced ones who will give you all the rights. Usually, if you want all the rights and you get a photographer to work, you pay for that. I mean, you know, if you want to own the photos, that's intellectual property. It's property.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're going to pay more.
So you're going to pay more to own that. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So that's, you know, like I said, we do an entire other podcast about it. But as long as you have either permission or the right to those images or whatever content it is, we're fine. But our contract does say, in our contract, which you signed, it says that you either have permission or the right to any content that you provide to us.
Okay.
For anything,
So,
web design.
for anything.
So
we don't want to get sued because
Sure.
someone steals something.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love you guys talking about the importance of good contracts. So how much does a video like this cost to do, ballpark?
$500.
Okay.
So if you want a 1-minute promotional video, and that is going to include the shoot, and the shoot's probably going to be about an hour. It's not going to take much time, and it's going to include the editing and putting it together. And really, then you own the video, especially if you're giving us content that we don't own. I mean, we give you the video, so it's $500. There's no extra cost. You can use that video for anything. You can use that video for YouTube. You can put it on your website. You know, whatever you want to do with it, it's yours.
So from an SEO perspective, it doesn't matter how many videos you have on your website. Does it matter if you change them out frequently, or is it just the fact that your website has a video on it is that what boosts the SEO?
Google owns YouTube, so they love video. And it also, people are more willing to watch a video than actually read through your content.
Mm-hmm.
So all those things. And they love fresh content. They love content that changes. They want to know that you're taking care of your website and that you put new and fresh and relevant. So if you put a cat video up, maybe not so, unless you're a cat groomer or something, but it needs to be relevant to what you do.
And so actually changing out so if I do new podcasts, and I should not
That's
just
great
have my,
for your SEO.
but I shouldn't just have my favorite podcast from 3 months ago up on my website. I should change it out with each new
Well, if
podcast.
you're doing, I saw the way you have do your podcast, because you keep adding. I think that's what's drawing the SEO.
Okay.
Not necessarily the changing.
Okay.
I mean, if it's on your about page, I'm not sure they expect you to.
Okay.
You know, how many times are you going to change what you?
You know, and you can do. And you can do your own. I mean, if you have a blog and you put video up every week or two, that's fine. I'm not suggesting that you pay somebody like me to do that. But, you know, if you, even with an iPhone or a smartphone, you can do pretty decent video. The things, and actually we have on our website, on our blog, a video tutorial on how to make a decent video with a phone. You have to light it. I mean, you can't
Which you're
just use,
obviously doing.
Which
This
you-
is a
which you
great
obviously
setup,
do.
by
This
the
is-
way.
Thank you.
yeah. But and lights are not that expensive. I'm sure those were not, the lights you're using here are not
yeah, this
terribly
whole setup
expensive.
wasn't very expensive.
For video, really, there's a little LED light. It's a multi LED. It's called a CN160. You can find these things online for $30, and a light stand. You can probably find a light stand for, I don't know, $25. And that'll put out a lot of light, and you can do a decent job with a phone. I mean, the next iPhone, what's the Success, is going to be 4K. But these phones need a lot of light to look good. They don't look real good if there's not a whole lot of light. They get grainy.
Sure.
And a tripod.
And a tripod.
Yours is mounted. I mean, because
On a popcorn machine.
On a popcorn
for
machine.
those
No,
that
that's cool. But I mean,
But it's
tripods
steady.
are not expensive, and they have special phone holders that will fit on a tripod.
Okay.
And I picked one of these things up actually for the video that we did at Holiday Camera in Oak Park. It was $7. I mean, it's this little plastic, probably will last maybe a year. It's made out of plastic, but it has a screw thread so you can put it on a tripod, and it essentially has this little clamp that just clamps around your phone. And once you do that, you can get pretty decent video. Videos really looks best if you have it, whatever you're shooting it with, the camera, phone, steady on a tripod.
Sure.
Because the bigger the screen, the more movement you're going to notice. So you won't notice it on your phone, but all of a sudden when you put it on your screen, you'll see it do that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of the value that you guys are adding for that $500 is really the kind of production work on it, right? It's not easy to...
You say higher production value. So we light it with bigger LED panels. They're still not huge. They have to be portable because we go out to do this. But we light the person that's doing the video, and we also light the background. So if they have something in the background you want to see,
Speaking of lighting, I suspect that I need to light this correctly. I need these lights coming in from the front, right? Because I've got them, for those who can't see on the video, I've got them coming in from each side.
What you could do is, because it would be, obviously the camera would see it, so you might think about some sort of mount on the wall, and then you could mount a fairly decent, they have these light panels that are really about the size of an iPad, and they're about $200, you find them online.
Oh, yeah.
You can mount that, and that'll put up enough light to,
The only other thing I'd recommend is that window. When I was looking at your podcast to see what you do,
It just
what
looks like
kind
a
of
bright
questions.
bar of white light.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe you get a screen,
Yeah.
and you just when you're doing these videos, the screen is in front and it just blocks that light, so it doesn't look, because it's it is really bright compared to everything else.
Yeah. Thank you for the advice on that. I want to drill down a little bit more on the SEO stuff. And a lot of times these interviews turn into my personal questions that I want to know for myself. But I figure probably a lot of the listeners will want to know the same thing.
Probably everybody does.
So I have 3 websites. I've got my Clarity Law website, I've got the Seize Your Business podcast website, and I've got my Know Your Law blog website.
Okay.
And I've been told the content is king, and I can't get a straight answer from anyone about whether I need to have those all, when I update my blog, whether that actually needs to be on my main Clarity Law website, which is where I really want to draw the traffic to and what I want the SEO to be on. I mean, I backlink all the articles back to Clarity Law, but I'm not actually updating the Clarity Law site, except for the little, the widget at the bottom of the site that shows the most recent article. So that's probably a negative SEO, right? Okay.
And it's good that you're not posting it to both, because Google doesn't like.
So that I'll get
Google thinks you're
for that.
scraping it.
They don't like
duplicate
content.
Okay.
I would post where you want people to go.
So
Why
put
would
it
you
all on
post
one
it
site.
on somewhere Yeah.
Yeah.
And why do you? What was the third one? It was.
So I've got my law firm site,
right?
A law-based blog that I do, and then the podcast site.
Is there a reason why they're not connected?
One's a Weebly site that's got more functionality. My Clarity Law site is.
Okay.
And the WordPress site is, or the blog is a WordPress site that is just a little bit easier to do blog articles.
Does Weebly not have blog capabilities?
That's probably something I need to look into. Probably a good reason to hire a web person. But I assume it probably does, because I know it's more premium than than WordPress. I just haven't looked into it. So.
Well, when you talk about a WordPress site, you're saying that you have that on WordPress.com, is what my guess is.
Or is it self-hosted?
It's self-hosted.
It's self-hosted,
Okay.
so it's a WordPress CMS,
Yeah.
content management system,
Right.
self-hosted.
I would post it where you want it.
Yeah.
Post where you want the attention to go.
Oh, well, thank you.
And then
I've
the little
asked many
widget-
web people about that, and this is the first straight answer
The
I've gotten.
little widget, I'm not sure how much that. And if you want people to go to your website, then why would you have a widget telling them there's content on their site?
No, that's a
That
good
doesn't
point.
make any sense to me.
Sure.
Because usually they describe it as an octopus, where all your social media and anything else you want leads back into your website, because that's where you want them to be.
Sure. Thank you for the advice on that.
Sure.
Anything else you guys want to add about SEO or video marketing?
SEO is an interesting topic because it's always changing.
Yeah.
Google is always changing their algorithms. They're the ones who make the rules. And it's not a one and done.
Mhm.
It's continual. And because content is king. They want to know their customer is the person Googling, right?
Mhm.
Searching for something. And they want people to get the correct results for the term that they're searching. So if your content doesn't match what your description is, they don't like that at all, because that means they're sending someone to a place that's not going to help them, not
Okay.
going to be what they're looking for. So you have to write and tailor your site and the content to what you think your customers want, right? So if your customers aren't other lawyers, writing content that speaks to them, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you draw the right thing, and it's not going to help on your search either, because it's going to be lawyers looking for what you're talking about, instead of customers or clients looking to hire you because they see you as talking about the things they need to fix.
Yeah, and that's what our blog is directed at. The tagline is a legal blog for non-legal people. It's kind of the, I don't want lawyers to read my blog. They can read it if they want, but you know, although I do have a funny story. I had an associate that was researching something for me, and she like prints out this source, and it's an attorney's blog article, and she didn't realize until
It was yours?
Yeah, we're using. There's a little bit of a circular thing.
That's
We're
hilarious.
using our own blog article as.
Which isn't great.
This sounds familiar. That's
funny.
my writing.
My background is actually I have a master's degree in molecular biology, and citing yourself is not.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, you can.
Yeah,
I mean,
people do.
you can cite prior work. It's fine. A lot of times online, I'll see somebody cite something, they'll try and back themselves up by citing an article that says the same thing, and they wrote it.
Which isn't. Which
is
funny though. I would try and condense that if you can, because that's where you want people to be. You want people to know also that this is my advice, this is what I'm talking about, and this is how I can help you.
So let me ask you this. Now we've opened a Pandora's box. So I've got these three websites with all of their different, fan bases, I guess. Because there's people that go to the blog website, there's people that go to the podcast website.
Right.
How do I condense that without, can I, within the O'Flaherty law domain, can I lead to see? I guess, what's the way to condense it without having duplicate work that's going to hurt my SEO, posting it on both sites, without just shutting down,
Redirects.
the
redirect. Yeah, I would start posting the blog. I would see. I'm not real familiar with Weebly, but I just moved someone off the site because they said it didn't have enough functionality. So that's kind of funny. To WordPress. I would see if they have. I would think that they would have blog capabilities. And I would see if you could just start posting there, and then you could.
And then for
just
my blog
point.
website, I just do a redirect to that.
Just redirect to that, and you can.
But then you would have to move those old.
You'd have to move the old
posts
blog
to
posts
Weebly.
to Weebly. But you might want to do
could
that.
redirect so that Google doesn't get mad, and so when it comes up in search, it goes to the right place.
Okay.
Because you got to think about branding, and if you're trying to keep that all under one brand, then having it in 3 different places is just confusing the issue.
Sure. Well,
It's diluting your pool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the advice, guys. I appreciate it. It's been great having you on. If people want some a video made for them, or a website done, or have some more questions that we didn't answer in the podcast, how can I reach you guys?
You can reach us at bannor on the internet, and that's Bannor twice, so bannor.com. Don't forget, no ER, OR. People do it all the time. It's sort of a reflex, so just type in ER. So bannor.com. Our email address is I'm Todd at bannor.com, so that's TODD, and Beth is Beth at bannor.com. And your phone number?
708-203-6513.
And mine is 708-267-9978. So if you're doing web design, call Beth. If you're interested in photography or videography, call me.
So I have to ask you this: molecular biologist named Bannor, no relation to the Hulk?
No. And that's funny because that's
not the first time you've heard that one, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, guys.
Thank you. Oh, I just want to add, we also do website training and consulting, and we also do web care. Security is really important. WordPress sites, they need to be taken care of. Yeah. And if people can't take care of them themselves, then we do tailor
so it's
packages for people.
A monthly package. So if you're so busy you can't take care of your website, we can take care of it for you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Nice job.